jewelry making friends. My name is Joey Balistreri. Welcome to my channel and welcome to my work table. Today I'm just doing a really fun inspired by spring necklace, and I am really not only inspired by spring but by some of the boxes that I've received this month. So actually last month, our bargain bead box had this gorgeous Amazonite, these microfaceted gems, and when the box extras became available, I went on the website and ordered some more. And I also ordered this from the sister website, which is Bead Box Bargains for newer people. The bargain bead box is the monthly subscription box that, as I always say, I don't know how you can make jewelry and live without it. And then you get a coupon for 30% off your entire order, which you can use over and over again as many times as you want during the month for your purchases. And the sister website is Bead Box Bargains. And so if you're not a subscriber to the box, you can still shop the website. You just don't get those great, wholesale prices of 30% off. So I have gone back on the website after I used up the beads in my box, and this is what I have here. And I have added 2 gold-filled jump rings to this because I was playing around with the design, so I've done that. And let me just share something with you really quickly. I have had in my stash, I have had this for years. This pendant, I think I bought this about 3 years ago. I love ceramic beads, pendants, and that kind of thing, but green is not my #1 favorite color, although this is a very beautiful green, and I never did anything with it. That was the code for the website back then. And so then when I was recently on the website, they had it in this turquoise color and I jumped on it. So I've actually been loving this for a really long time, and I probably will still do something with this one. It is gorgeous. So I've been sort of designing a necklace with not only the inspiration I received from Bargain Bead Box, but I also get the dollar bead bag and the dollar bead box. And in their box this month, we had this gorgeous strand of 4mm AB little druck beads, and they just look kind of the way dragonfly wings glisten for me. So for me, it was the perfect pairing. And then also in the dollar bead box this month, we had these gorgeous clear 2-hole brick beads with an AB finish on one side. And again, that AB finish just looks like the way dragonfly wings kind of shimmer in the sunlight when you see them, and it just inspired me to do this little piece. And then also from Bead Box Bargains, and this has been in my stash for a really long time, I have this little dragonfly toggle clasp. Is that not the absolute perfect closure for this necklace? Now I may make some modifications to this because the little toggle bar is really, really small, and I don't know, it's kind of, I'm looking at it thinking, I'm not sure how easy that will be to put on and off. So I may actually just use the dragonfly side and do some kind of another little clasp. I'm not sure yet, but it is out here. And then I have this one little 2-hole spacer bead from Tiara Cast, which is left over in my stash. Many of you know they closed at the end of last year. And why I love that, 2 reasons. It has the little dots, the little like bumps on it, and it just coordinated really well with this little bumpy texture on my pendant. And also the holes really lined up nicely. I know my fingers are in the way. The holes really lined up nicely with these little brick beads. So I'm going to play with a design with that. And then if you've been around my work at all, you know that I really like longer necklaces, and I'm not going to do this one as long as I normally would, but this is clearly, I think this is like a 6 or 8 inch strand. It's not going to be enough. Now with the Amazonite, this is like a 15 inch strand, so that can definitely give me some length. But I have cut open a strand of little 6mm AB clear beads. I don't really want this to be clear, at least not the way I'm seeing it in my head, but that was a craft store item that I had in my stash, and there's quite a bit of length there, so I may incorporate that. And always the powerful seed beads, I just love. In fact, I'm going to dump these out. I just love this color of seed bead with everything that's going on here. And let me tell you, this is a Czech seed bead, and it is called green, simply green. But just put the code up there. I cannot remember where I got this. It's a John Bead product, and it's an 80 seed bead. I can't remember where I got that, but look at the beautiful, like, it is not a solid green. It again has that sort of dragonfly look to it. So, you know, I just think that seed beads are really powerful. They can extend your length when you don't have enough beads that you want to use. They can be fabulous, inexpensive spacers. And I do generally lean towards smaller scale necklaces, so they are great for that. I also have a little tube of gold seed beads, and I have my project tray off to the left. I tend to pull anything that's a possibility for a design and just keep it right to the left of my work table, so that's what I'm pulling from. But I recently on one of my travels found these little hex 80 galvanized starlight beads, and they were not super expensive, but they are really cool. So since I'm doing a gold accent, in fact, while I have it in my hand, since I'm doing a little gold accent on this dragonfly necklace, I'm going to just put a few of those out here as well. And I also have these, and I was considering, instead of this being just a straight stringing process, I was considering doing maybe a little asymmetrical flower, maybe up one side. I haven't really decided if I want flowers in this piece yet or not, but they are there in case I decide when I start stringing. And then I am going to be using Soft Flex turquoise color 49 strand 26 pound. It's a medium beading wire, and I'm using this gorgeous turquoise color. I have already cut a 28-inch length, and it is just absolutely, I mean, it's so perfect for what I am doing. And I'm also going to be using the Soft Flex #2 crimp tubes when I get to the end. So Soft Flex is my other company that I say, if you make jewelry, I don't know how you can live without it, because they have the most fabulous anti-tarnish craft wire. Their bead stringing wire, their 49 strand, is my absolute favorite. The copper color is one that I reach for all the time, but they have so many colors and just so beautiful for design. And because of the coating on it and, you know, the way it is, you don't need to cover it. So if it's exposed, which on my necklace, it will be exposed a little bit here and there. You don't have to cover it with seed beads. You can just actually let it show. So my plan is to string this beading wire right through. I've put double jump rings on this pendant, and my plan is to just string it and match up the ends here. And the reason that I'm doing that is I really didn't want to go for a larger jump ring. And so I came up with a little bit of a way to kind of separate my strung part of my necklace from this pendant, just so the beads won't be right on top of the pendant. And what I'm going to do is take one of these little brick 2-hole beads from my dollar bead box this month, and I'm going to string 2 of those just side by side onto this turquoise wire. And I mean, look, you can see a little bit of the wire through the beads. I just love that. And I'm just going to feed that down and just let it float right above my pendant, right about like that. I love that. And then I think I'm going to do a little spacer with this 2-hole tiara cast bar, spacer bar, and let's see, and it's two-sided, so that's always really nice. But look at that, just beautiful. And then I think I like to work in odd numbers. It's just the interior design background in me, so I think I'm going to do 2 more brick beads on top, and that will give me a little section of 5 beads. And let me see what that looks like. That is so pretty. So I really don't want this to get any longer. You know, I don't want to have a strange pendant, but my plan is to separate my 2 wires and then start stringing up both sides. So this is a very relaxing, like simple stringing project. Let me take a moment just to look and see, because I did consider doing some seed beads in between my bricks, and I think I'm just going to have a look at that before I start stringing. I was thinking to just do a seed bead, just 1 on each side for color on those clear AB bricks, but also it would create a little bit of negative space. And sometimes I just really love that in design, just a little gentle blank space. So let's just feed this back on and see what that looks like. Oh, wow, that is gorgeous. I love that. So I think that is what I'm going to do. So everything off, and I'm going to redo that first part of my little pattern, adding in some of those seed beads. I have finished creating my pattern and stringing it, and I also went ahead and crimped off this end so you could see how we're going to finish the other side. I used my magical crimping plier and one of the Soft Flex Company's number 2 crimp tubes, and you get this perfect little bead and that little peeking out of turquoise of the wire. And so what I did in adjusting my pattern, when I saw that I was going to have enough length without using the clear beads with the AB and just using these kind of blue-green color beads and my Amazonite and my seed beads, I took those out of the pattern, and I also pulled in those little 11-0 little gold seed beads, and so you just get like a little dot of gold in between the Amazonite. And so I really just repeated that pattern in those little segments where I had the little section of glass beads and then a little section of the Amazonite beads, glass beads, Amazonite, all the way up. And when I reached the last little part that's going to go around my neck, I just adjusted the pattern a little bit to save out some of these beads so that I could do some earrings. And that's what always happens to me when I'm stringing. It's so relaxing and it's a creative time for me, so I start thinking. That's what happened here. So I did one earring. I paused this because I got excited about making an earring. So I did one earring, kind of using everything except the seed beads that's here, so I can wear them together or alone. And it is ready for my gold-filled interchangeable ear wires that I keep in my jewelry wardrobe. So I make my drops and things as I get bead boxes, and then I don't need an ear wire every time. So I put everything in the little dish to make another one of those along with you. And I decided against the flowers in the stringing. They just didn't look right to me. But I did keep 2 of them out here with a couple of little ball head pins. And with my beads that are left over, I'm thinking to do a second pair of earrings. And instead of using the turquoise Soft Flex, this time using gold wire. So I'll play with that, but I really love these little flowers, and I do love the way that they go with this. So I'm put a few things in the dish here in my leftover beads. And so now I simply have to just string up this side and just continue as I was. So I'm just going to copy this other side exactly, which was a little section of the glass. And I'm just going to repeat. Little section of the glass. And the seed beads are just beautiful in this. They add a really nice rich color, but they're small. I always say that seed beads are a very small little bead, but they are powerful and they can be workhorses in your design. And if you have a gemstone bead like these Amazonite, or even a check glass bead, or some kind of a bead that you would love to see your whole necklace in, but you just don't have the quantity, seed beads can really extend that, you know, if you match up the color pretty well, and they don't overpower your more expensive beads either. They're just like this perfect little space. There's the little pattern. I'm going to string up this second side, and I will be right back to finish this little jewelry set. It started out to just be a necklace, and it's turned into a jewelry set now, so it's exciting. I love making jewelry. I will pause and be right back. This is just so pretty. I love the way this is turning out. It's just beautiful. It's not quite as long as I normally wear my necklaces, but I am loving it. So let's, I'm going to crimp this side. I strung the second side exactly the way that I did the first side. And so I definitely want to make sure that nothing is tight or, you know, rigid when I do my crimping. So let me take one of these little number 2 crimp tubes and feed it right down to my little row of seed beads, and I'm just going to put some little coils in my necklace, and I have my magical crimping plier right here, and I'm going to use my pliers to help me because I used right down to the last inch of my beautiful turquoise soft flex. There it goes. Just want to make sure that my loops are almost the same. It is on the back of the necklace, but I still want it to look just right. Maybe a little bit smaller. Okay, and just check one more time before I crimp, just to make sure that everything looks good. No gaps, no mistakes in the stringing. I always just double check because it's so much fun to string and it's relaxing, but it's easy with these small beads and a pattern that alternates like this to miss a bead, so I don't want to have to restring. So now I'm just going to come in with my magical crimping plier. If you've never seen this before, it just has one little single divot or well, and you just rest your crimp tube right in the center of that well, and when you feel it's right in the center, just close the plier and you'll see that you have pinched the 4 corners of the crimp tube, and then turn it sideways at a 90-degree angle and fit it right back in the middle of that well and close it again. And then you just open and close and continue to go around until the tool has turned a tube into a little round bead. It is so beautiful and very small and very unobtrusive way to finish off a piece. And you know, it's just wonderful because you don't have to worry about uncrossing your wires before you crimp down. You don't need a crimp cover. I mean, it is one and done. And I love that tool. I use my Xuron crimping pliers sometimes as well. Just depends on the project, but I really love that. And then I'm just going to come in here as closely as I can, being careful not to cut my good wire, my stringing wire. Get that a little bit closer. Oh, no, I got it right down inside the first seed bead. Perfect. Now I can just decide my clasp, and I use my gold-filled jump rings here, so let me do the same thing for attaching my clasp. I'm going to try to use that, let me see if I have some really small ones in here. I don't. I think these were all the same size. So that's going to be the smallest that I have. I am going to try to use the second half of that little dragonfly toggle, but there's something about that that makes me think it's going to be a difficult toggle to clasp. So anyway, I'm going to try, but I have a plan B if I don't like it. So let's go ahead and attach. And the cool thing is too, this ceramic pendant is two-sided, and my stringing section is also two-sided. There's no right or wrong, which makes this a really easy on and off necklace. Kind of liking those little details. He's so cute. I'll give that a try, but I do have a plan B, as I said. I don't know why, but it just felt like this was going to be challenging to get it in and out. Oh, actually, it's okay. Actually, that is not too bad. Look how cute that little toggle clasp is. I actually might need to get a smaller jump ring for here. I may try to wear it a little bit, and I do have some gold-filled wire that I can make jump rings out of, so I actually think that I need a smaller jump ring. I don't know if you can see how large that is for this small little toggle, but I can do that after I stop filming because I don't have them here in my project tray. But yeah, I think this is what I was afraid was going to happen, is it would be a little bit challenging to get this in and out. So I think I will change that jump ring out, but that is so cute. And in order to finish this off, I want to make a little dangle. I have one of my little beads here. I am using these gorgeous Athena cast 29 karat gold plated ball head pins is what I am using in my other pair of earrings. So I'm just going to make like a really sweet little dangle here with maybe one of my little seed beads, kind of the same elements that I've used throughout the piece, and just make like a little sweet little bauble to hang from the end. And let's see, I think that I will just do a simple loop here. I'm going to use my 1.5 millimeter one-step looper and just make a fast, simple loop and add that right to the back. Just a sweet little detail. I think I'm going to add it right to my little loop of soft flex right there. Work harden that a little bit. Make sure it's closed really well. That is just the sweetest, loveliest little detail just hanging from the back of my necklace. Let me take this out so you can see. So pretty. Okay, oh my goodness, I love this. I just love the way this turned out. How gorgeous. I love it. So I have this little bit of my Amazonite microfaceted gems. I have this little stash over here. Let me show you the earring while I was on pause, because as I said, when I'm stringing, I sit and look at my ingredients and I keep designing. It's just a very creative time for me. So I started with one of those ball head pins, and I thought about stringing my whole little pattern right onto this ball head pin to make kind of a stick earring with a flower. But in the end, I decided that I wanted a little bit of movement on the flower. And so this is what I came up with, a little stick component and then a flower that hangs from that. And I've already tried this on. It is so pretty. It is just so pretty. And I just love having these little options for my gold-filled interchangeable ear wires. So that is what that second little earring. So I actually have this really, really pretty set that can go with my necklace or be worn separately. So let's make the other, we'll put these here so we can look at them. Let's make the other earring together. So I'm just going to start with one of those ball head pins, and on these 5 petal flowers, I want to make sure, since it's an earring, that I match. And I had decided that my ball would sit right in between those bottom 2 petals, and this odd petal would be coming out of the top. And then I just fed on one of those little 11O gold seed beads and one of these little green shimmery glass beads. And so that little drop is done. Now I want my loop, I'm going to use my one-step looper again. I want my loop, everything is moving, I didn't wire wrap. I want my loop to be going from the front of the flower around to the back so that my flower hangs, you know, so that my flower hangs facing forward. It will spin around, and I decided I wanted to do these with a lot of movement. So I'm going to do that. It really does spin. Didn't realize how much. And just pull that back and get a nice little loop in there. That one didn't close really well, but that's okay. I have to open and close it anyway to put it onto my other component. But I like to take the opportunity to like open and close my pliers on the wire to work harden. And then I've got another little piece. This is 22 gauge anti-tarnish wire, and I am going to do that same thing, just get my one-step looper to put a simple loop, and I'll just hold it in the tool and straighten it with my fingers. That warms the wire too and just makes it good to work with. I want to make sure that loop is nice and closed, and work harden that one a little bit. And then my pattern that I created for this was let me see, how many did I use? 4 of these little Amazonite. So let me take 4 off. So my pattern is 1 little Amazonite on the wire, and then a gold spacer, gold seed bead as a spacer, another little Amazonite, and then my last, I used every single one of the beads on this strand from the dollar bead box this month. I absolutely just loved those. It worked out perfectly to get a dangle on the back of the necklace and 2 pairs of earrings and my length that I wanted on my dragonfly necklace. So that's all that is. It's just a little stick, just a little, let me show you up close. It's just a little stick section, and I'm going to do the same thing with my one-step looper. I like to do my loops opposite. Just come in, get it right in the tool. And I'll straighten my little, I always have good control while my beads and wire are in this tool to either straighten my loop or straighten my wire. I really love that little tool. It really saves my hand when I have a lot of components to make. And then we can simply attach. And that beautiful, elegant, simple, easy to make little earring is done. Whoops, wrong one. There's my little pair of earrings. So spring and summer ready. I just love them. And then the other earring that I did is on a little small piece of that same soft flex wire that I used. And I started with this is literally my last one of these little glass beads. And then I put a gold seed bead on either side of that. And then I strung 3 Amazonite beads on each side of that. Then another gold seed bead on each side. And then 3 more Amazonite on each side. This little pattern was really just to make one of those AB green glass beads as my focal and also really feature the Amazonite beads, but you can do a little teardrop shape with your leftover beads, you know, and just really any kind of a pattern that you like. And I wanted to use one of these little 2-hole brick beads just to bring in the elements from my necklace, but it also acts as a really nice separator, and just, you know, really kind of holds that teardrop in shape. Now that is so pretty, just looks great. And then I needed 1 more gold seed bead at the top of the brick on each side. Just pull that down, and then put both wires through one of my little hex seed beads and just pull that down. And then I need my last crimp tube, and it's going to also go over both wires, and just bring that down. And then I'll use my pliers to help me. And I am going to just hold everything in the position that I want and get this wire down through that crimp tube. And not all crimp tubes are created equal. This one feels like it might be a little bit tight compared to my other side. So you find that when they make these, they're not always exactly the same. Let me have a look at my loop on this side. Take it off this ear wire so I can see more easily. Let's see if my loop is a little bit large on this side. Pull it a little bit smaller. And also on this, I want to also check that little bit of space. I have a little bit of space right above my last 2 gold beads. That looks really good. Just make sure everything is straight before you crimp. Want to make sure that that loop is facing, you know, is flat and parallel to my beading mat so that it hangs on my ear wire nicely. Just take your time, check everything, and then magical crimping plier again. Just place that crimp tube right in that well. Double check before you close down that everything is where you want it. And let's see if I can go again. And then I'm just going to turn it sideways and do that same thing that we did on our necklace. Just keep going around and around until you don't feel any resistance. And when you don't feel that the tool is doing anything anymore, then you know that you made a perfect little bead out of that tube. I'll just come in and trim away as close as possible. Trim away as closely as possible. And I'll take my pliers and just kind of pull everything into place. And see how we did. That is a gorgeous little pair of earrings. I love them. This little project was so much fun, and it was so quick and easy. I just love it. I got two gorgeous pairs of earrings. I have this beautiful little dragonfly pendant necklace. I will put some pictures up at the end of the video, and in the description box I will leave any information that I think you might want for your own projects. And so that includes my code for getting $2 off your first bargain bead box, the dollar bead box as well. I'll leave links to my beautiful gold-filled ear wires that I love so much, and anything else that I think you might want to know. And I will also put my email in the bottom, in the description box. And if you have not sent me pictures of your little furry-faced helpers, I'm putting them here and there at the end of the video to share with this creative community. Everyone is loving it. I'll put my email in the bottom so you can send me those photos. I'd appreciate you taking a minute to do that. And I thank you so much for watching today. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you like my content, and I will see you in the next video. Ciao, jewelry making friends.